Hello, you found the last video. Here's video number 2. Welcome. So this turned out super cute, I think. So we're going to create this together now. And let's see. I want to be able to have you see the measurements. Not a lot of cutting to do, but I will tell you. Go ahead and find your gold papers. Let's do our gold. And we have 2 pieces we need to cut. We're going to cut them to 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. So just a little square, 2 of them. 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. You can hit pause, get those cut, and come on back. I'm going to glue them on the front and the back of our covers. Be careful around the ribbons. And if you're using glue, be careful. This foil paper, if you get some glue on the front of it, it'll wipe that pretty foil right off. So I always have to tell myself that and to be a little careful. What's nice about glue is you can slide it into place. So I'm just making sure I feel like it's pretty centered. Lift mine up. Top, bottom, left, and right. Flip over to the back and do that side. Get my glue going there. It took a second. It's getting low, so it takes longer to come to the surface for me. All right, so we've got our gold. Now find our pretty rainbow and on the other side unicorn paper. We're going to cut 2 of those that are 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. We're going to glue those right down. So hit pause. This is your first side. Should be your last piece of paper. We're going to cut it down to 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. Glue her down. All right, going back to my front album. Do the same thing with that rainbow paper. I am going to give this little book to my granddaughter. She loves rainbows and unicorns and princesses and all this good stuff. And she turns 5 in a couple of, well, maybe a week or so, a week and a half. So I'll give it to her for her birthday. Okay, so now we've got that cut. The next thing we're going to do is find some gold again. And I don't think I wrote this one down. We're going to cut 1 piece of gold for the front that's 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not staying in camera. How can I do this, guys? I guess I'll have to have the trimmer hang over the edge of the table so that I can get this up in. I don't know why it's doing that to me. All right, maybe I'll cut off to the side, and that way it's not hanging on my body. So just in case you didn't have a good view, and now I can get it down closer. Pardon my arm and the reach, but let's get together here, huh? All right, I like this better. So, in case you didn't see, this was our first cut, that 5 3/4 gold, and then 5 1/2. We did that on the front and the back. So that's all we've got done right now. So this is 4 3/4. So I'm gonna glue that down. Actually, I'm not. Let's hold off. Let's get our other piece. You want to trim the last bit of your rainbow side unicorn, 4 1/2 by 4 1/2. Let's glue those together and then let's pop them up with foam tape. So I'm going to glue my unicorn, 4 1/2 by 4 1/2, onto my gold, 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. Just square it up, pretty. Okay. Now the other thing, I'm going to have Good Times be the focal point of my album. And so I trimmed this 1/4. Nope, I lied. 1/8 on all 4 sides. So let me see if I can bring it in and I'll show you. We start with a 3x4, but if we move it over 1/8 and trim, corner 1/8 and trim, again move it 1/8 and trim, and 1/8 and trim, we take a 1/4 off of the height and the width, but we keep the pretty stuff, the focal point, centered up, okay? And then you're going to want to get your scraps, and you should be able to get a couple of these. Cut as many as you can that are 3 wide by 4 tall. So we're going to put this right on top of that pretty gold foil. So as many as you can get out of your scraps. I was only able to get 2 more, so a total of 3. And then I've got a couple even smaller scraps. So we're going to glue Good Times right onto that gold foil. And then while we're foam taping, we'll just put all this together on our front cover. And that's really all that has to be done for the front cover. Nope, that's not my foam tape. Here we go. So I'm going to get my square back. I wish I could go. Let's see if I can go even closer. Why not? All right. I'm going to flip to the back side. You need your scissors, or I do for the type of foam dimension that I use. This is a roll that I get that it does not stick to the scissors, which is nice. I'm just going to put a couple in the middle there for support. Okay, so that's my first layer, and here's my second layer. And I'm going to go ahead and put some foam tape on that as well. Whoops. Okay, let's glue that on top of our, we're just going to center it up. You can still see cute little unicorns sneaking through. So we're going to center that up top and bottom, left and right. That looks good enough for me. Okay, and now let's get our album again. Make sure you're dealing with the front cover, which I think I've got my front. How cute is that, right? We're going to have to definitely trim up some of these ribbons, but that's the last thing I'll do. All right, so we're going to tuck these in here. Again, I'm just eyeballing left and right, top and bottom. Looks pretty good to me. Press it down. And there's our album cover. There we go. So let's open it up and do a few things too. Find also, you should have some scraps of that white paper we set aside, remember? So you can cut 2 scraps that are 4 by 5. Go ahead and do that. And you've already got your scraps of gold. So I've got a couple here. And then we've got these cute little cards. So I need to get my album out of the way now because we're dealing with this fun stuff. We need our trimmer in place. Let me see if I can. Actually, I might have a small Tim Holtz trimmer. Give me a second here. Do I see it? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to want to do the same thing with our pieces here. So I've got the, let's see, I'm going to work with You Are Magical. So it's at 3. I'm going to take it to an 8 and trim. Turn it 1/4 turn, move it 1/8, trim again. It's stuck there. There we go. Nice and straight. And while I got the trimmer out, I'm going to do it again with my other one. Let's see, what do I want to use? I think I'll use this pretty unicorn here. So it starts at 4. I'm going to move it in 1/8, quarter turn. I'm at 3, going to move it in 1/8, quarter turn. Now I'm to 3 3/4, and I'm 2 3/4. All right, so let's do some glue, and I'll just keep the trimmer here. So this we can tuck into our little pages. So I'm going to glue my little unicorn to my gold. We'll tuck this into one of our little pages, and then you'll have a photo mat for the other side. And it should be able to peek out a little bit too, so you see some of the pretty artwork as you're opening up your album pages. Here's one of them. Let's do the other one. Just working with our scraps. So here's this scrap again. They're 4 by 5, right? And we cut down the "You Are Magical." Okay. All right, so there's our cute little photo mats. We've got 2 of those. So now you've got colored cardstock, and I need to pull the big trimmer back into place here because we're going to cut these down. So we've got, I'm going to pull out the purple. It's a dark purple or medium purple. So we're going to cut 2 pieces that are 4 wide by 10 tall. So 2 of those, 4 wide by 10 tall. Okay, and we'll set that aside. Let's get these done next. So we can fold these in half. Did I do 10? It's kind of cute. I'm going to leave it like this. It's not exactly centered. I don't think these are big enough. Maybe. All right, here's the last scraps that we have, you guys. I'm going to cut these. I just like a little bit of dimension. So here comes the trimmer again. This is already 4 tall. That's what my scraps are. So I'm going to cut it 3 wide. And another one, 3 wide. All right, and then I'm going to trim down Hooray. Again, the same thing we've been doing. You know the drill. We're just going to take an 1/8 inch off of all 4 sides. Here's another pretty one. We got this cute little rainbow. We'll do that one. And then I've got a couple of journal boxes. And I'm just looking to see if they need cleaned up at all. There's a little white edge at the top of this one, so I'm just going to clean that up. And I've got this pretty one. I got a little white edge on this side. So if you've got, from the cutting them apart, if you need to clean up your edges, that's great. Go ahead and do that. And that should be it for this piece. So now we've got our 2 pieces. I don't think. Yep. All right, so I'm going to fold this guy in half. I wonder if I just don't think I cut one of them, because this is more like what I had in mind. That's more dimensional, right? All right, so I guess I just didn't cut the 10. So we're gonna trim that down to our 5. Yeah, all right, so I just didn't execute. So it was one of those things, do what I say, not what I do. Okay, so let's pull out our white. And we're gonna center that up. I can't get a hold of it, there we go. And I'm not gonna add pop-up or foam on any of this because we want it to be pretty flat on the inside of our album. And then I trimmed up the Hooray to fit on that white. Okay, and then we're going to open it up, and you can just pick whichever journal card you'd like to add. And then you can put a picture of your little cutie, whoever that is, up on the top. You can even put them on the back. I'll probably write my granddaughter a little happy birthday note. There's definitely a top to this one. So I almost glued it upside down. Okay. And I've got my bone folder. So since I have it handy, I'm going to give this a nice crease on both sides. There we go. I'll go ahead and do this one too. Same thing, put our white on first. Center it up. And then I think we trimmed up the rainbow. So cute. Baby, there we go. And pop it open and pick whichever. I'm going to do this cute little yellow banner. All right, so we've got these two inserts. So we've got these two inserts and these two. Let's go ahead and tuck them in. And then we've got this piece, these cute little pieces. I wonder if that would, oh yeah. Okay, so we've got some scraps and stuff we can play with. I've got a couple gold pieces too. We'll just see how creative we can get. Let's open this up. Again, I want to leave lots of room for your pictures. We've got some cute pages. So I'm going to tuck this insert into page 1. Isn't that cute? And then here's our glued together. We'll tuck this one, this white one in, page 2. Page 3. And page 4. All right, so now we have one more page. And so I'm going to get out the other colored cardstock that we have. So let me clean up my mess. Let's get out that bright pink. Right? So let's do the same thing that we'll cut one that is 4 by 10. All right. Whoops, I didn't cut it straight. I guess I did. All right, and then we should have enough that we could cut 2 other just big mats to put in supplemental. So we'll cut these. If our pages are 6 by 6, we're going to cut them to 5.5 by 5.5. We'll do 2 of those. 5.5 by 5.5. Because why waste paper? And And that should take us to just about everything. Oh, I lost my bone fold. Here it is. So here's this one. Oh, and we have one more sheet of our purple. Go ahead and, it already is 4 wide. So cut it to 10. Let's get another one. Okay. And we have this cute little scrap. So let's cut this to 5 by 5. By 5, because that can go right in the center here. Or if you like the rainbow, but I'm going to use the rainbow for my other. We've still got this scrap, so I'm going to cut it, keep the width and cut it to 5. Okay, and that's how I use up my scraps. So we've got these left. I'm not going to deal with these. They're too tiny. And then we've got these little guys. So let's see what might fit. I think this will fit on. Have to trim it a little bit. We can make that go on the gold. And we can make this go on the purple. So we'll trim that up. And then this guy, I'm thinking, yeah. So I'm going to take my scrap of gold and lay it right along my edge and then glue my rainbow down. And then I'm going to kind of center that up. Okay. So that's not going to take any cutting, just some placement. So let's get out my little trimmer and clean up our yay and our rainbow and get those where they can fit. And then we'll place them on our little inserts. So I'm just going to get that white edge off of this one. So it looks like I'm going to take it to 1 3/4. And my other ends look fine. I'm just going to center that up. So I'm going to glue it down. I'm really getting low on my glue. I need a new one. Yeah, make sure it's straight, and then I'll tuck it into my trimmer and just eyeball my other end. It looks like it's a little wide, so I'm going to take it one more time, take another sliver. Okay, so we've got yay. Let's do the same thing now with rainbow. It needs to be a little smaller for my scrap. I don't know how your scrap turned out. So I'm going to take it to, looks like 1 3/4 again. I need a little bit more off my end, so I'm just going to trim it. And it's got a little bit of color to it, so I'm going to clean it up. So we'll go 2 3/4. That'll fit nicely. And that's all the cutting I need to do. Oh, I lied, because I have to trim this edge. Okay, so I'm going to lay it top, left, and right here. And then again, I'll do the same thing like I did the other one. I'll trim this eyeball to match. So while I let that set up and dry, let's glue our little unicorn on top of here. I doubted myself for a second there. I was like, whoo, what they're supposed to do, rainbows? Okay. Just a few more inserts we can put into this cute little album. And then the rest of the story will be photos or stories. I'm going to put yay up top here, so when we tuck it in, we get a chance to see that yay. And then you put inside it your photos. Oops, a little bit of leaking out there. There we go. That's what I love about this glue. If you catch it, Just roll back and forth and it rolls up like rubber cement into a ball and off the page. Okay. I didn't know if I wanted to add that. It's not bad. So I'm just going to mark this with my fingernail right there. Highly official trim, and cut that off. Just gives it a little something something. Why not, right? Better than throwing the paper into the trash. So that was a scrap of a scrap. Let my rainbows go in the right direction. I don't think I turned my light on. I've been fighting in shadows. Let's see if that helps it a little bit. Okay, so there's my yay insert. I'm going to trim this now. Good. And let's see, I do have another little scrap of a scrap. Here's this guy. Yep, I'm going to do that, guys. So if this was, what did we say, 4? I'm going to cut this down to 3 3/4. I'm just going to lay it at the bottom, and then I'll center that up at the top. So that's just how I end up using up my scraps and my little decorator pieces. And then we'll tuck all of these into the album and we'll be done. I want to make sure I was gluing my rainbow right side up. I get to going. You know how that goes. Okay, there's that little insert. And we need to glue together this piece. So I'm going to glue my gold scrap first. And not every page is going to have an insert, not every side, but it'll be enough because then you're going to tuck in your photos, your stories, maybe a gift card. Just going to leave an edge there. You could ink your edges. You could do any of that. I'm just going to center it right up on my card here. I don't have any more gold, or I could back it in gold. So if you're home and you want to keep up the theme and you have some gold paper, that might be nice, or some white. Whoopsie, that just made a mess. Don't drop your page with wet glue. Okay, let's see if I can. I'm going to center it up and then keep rubbing that extra glue away. Whoops. That's what I was saying that I love about this glue. Okay, these are the last inserts, so let's tuck them in someplace, and you can change about the order. But just so darn cute, right? So we didn't have anything in that last one, so let's tuck him in. Let's tuck him in here on the right. Look how cute that is, right? Okay, so then we've got this guy. We'll skip. And then we've got this guy. We could do two. Let's do a pink and a purple. Okay, and then what do we have here? We could do our big unicorn on this side because it's adorable. And we could do purple and purple. All right, and then you tie it up and you give it away. All right, thanks for joining me. I hope you like this little pattern. And I will catch you again another crafty time. Bye now.